Okay, all right. Do we have any residents that signed up for comments to the board before the meeting? Janet? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, okay. That's fast. Okay, let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm going to try to call this meeting to order with my notes. Okay. All right. All right. Do order. Bill Simonelli here. John Elkins.
Here.
David Ott.
Here.
David O'Donnell.
Here.
Rob Purcell.
Here.
Lisa DePatie.
Here.
Stan Toro.
Here.
Here. Chuck Keel.
Here.
General Manager present. Okay, we have quorum and can proceed. The first item on the agenda is a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the executive board meeting of December 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on those meeting minutes? All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of the executive board meeting of December 16th, 2025, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes of December 18th, 2025? So moved. Do I have a second?
No second.
Have a second. Any comment on the meeting minutes from December 18th? All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of December 18th, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is the board president's report. Okay, good evening and welcome to everyone joining us tonight for our January regular board meeting. I have several items I would like to discuss before the treasurer's report. Service cutover of Bluestream Fiber internet service is continuing. I will be covering the details to date of the cutover during the committee reports section of the agenda. Since last month, the community has seen an increase in harassment incidents in our neighborhood. These incidents primarily involve groups of youths on bicycles, e-bikes, and motorbikes participating in disruptive, unsafe actions, including surrounding vehicles or residents, driving aggressively at vehicles, using profanity and vulgar hand signals, ringing resident doorbells in the late evening, and jumping the fence into the closed pool area. The safety and well-being of our residents remain our utmost priority. To tackle these issues and prevent future occurrences, we've partnered with the Cape Coral Police Department to expand our evening police patrols. These patrols now run 7 days a week, up from 4, offering greater visibility and quicker response times. The evening private security patrol hours have been extended to bolster oversight of the common areas. The general manager and the safety and security committee are closely monitoring both changes, as well as providing guidance to the CCPD and private security to ensure their efforts effectively reduce community disruptions. The last item, you may note that there has been a change in the date of the annual meeting. The meeting was originally scheduled for Thursday, March 5th, has been moved out 2 weeks to Thursday, March 19th. This change was necessitated due to a delay in sending out the statutory first announcement to the owners who have opted for electronic communications. With this change, the deadline for nominations to the board has been moved to Tuesday, February 17th. And with that, I'll now ask our treasurer for his report.
Okay. As far as the treasurer's report, I really don't have anything. At 5:37 this afternoon, I finally received an email saying that the year-end numbers are available, so I have not had a chance to review it at all. Just a couple of notes that I can tell you is that total home sales for 2025 was 45, and we were estimating 75. Banking At year end, the operating bank account had 854,732 in it. The reserves had $850,039, and Fifth Third had 4,357,834 for total reserves of 5,207,873. I do want to report that in January, I transferred $500,000 from the Popular Reserve account to the Fifth Third account. And as a result of that, the reserve account has 424,873. Fifth Third account has 4,864,611 for total reserves of 5,289,484. Delinquencies. The First of all, the delinquency reports have been combined. There used to be a separate report for special assessment and then a report for the regular assessment. Those are combined into one report, but I can identify what's the result of special assessment versus regular assessment. At year end, 144 residents still owed money to the association for a total of $134,437. And with the issue we had with the first quarter statements, I ran a query yesterday, and as of yesterday, we have 287 residents that owe money for a total amount of $280,281. One thing I'm going to look into is it's pretty easy to identify the residents that just haven't they weren't delinquent prior to this quarter. I'm going to see if there's some way we can communicate to them and remind them that they still owe money and that they will start to receive late fees if they don't pay. So that's my report. Does anybody have any questions about
I
it?
have one question.
Yes.
So Dave, as a result of the board meeting we had on January 21st, can you just highlight what actions have been taken to deal with the late fees?
What we did was we had precedent waive all late fees for the month of January and interest. So, and I went in and I checked. I I think everything got reversed because I looked prior to that and the late fees hit everybody's account, but unless I missed something, they were all reversed. So,
Okay, and just to remind everybody, the reason why we did that was because there was apparently half the community has still not received their first quarter statements. And so the board voted to, on the 21st, to waive the late fees only for the month of January in consideration that these residents were not given their statements in a timely manner. Okay. Any other questions for Dave?
Yeah, so what will the
No, no questions from the audience. Sorry. Okay, thank you. All right, general manager's report.
Can you hear me? Thank you. So I want to talk about staffing. McKenna, our receptionist, has resigned, and we started a search for a new replacement. We found a candidate who just today accepted the position, and she will start on February 11th. Temporarily, we have a temp who's at reception. Her name is Amber, and she'll be here until we get our new receptionist on board. As most of you know, Jessica is on vacation. She's talked about it for quite some time. So I am the temporary lifestyle director again. You're all in trouble.
we're in trouble. Yeah.
So Jessica will be back in the middle of next week, and at the end of next week, Yamli is scheduled to take a much needed vacation. So she'll be out for a couple of weeks. And our new pool attendant, Layla, started this past couple of weeks, and she's doing great. She comes to us from Sunsplash, so she's got experience being managing around the pool. As Bill just mentioned, I was going to mention about the annual meeting, but he already covered that. Tree trimming has been completed. The palm trees are scheduled for July of this year. This is putting us finally ahead of hurricane season. So we finally caught up to our original schedule. Budgeted additional cameras have been installed. We have them in the office, in the front lobby, in front of the clubhouse, and at the tennis and pickle courts. What else do we have here? Restrooms. We're once the new year came, and we wanted to make sure we get all of our projects in line. Restrooms in the clubhouse, both ladies and men's, the mirrors were starting to decay, and they've been replaced this week. Security. I mentioned a little bit about security. I don't want to take too much away from Lisa's report, but in the month of January so far, we've had 4 juveniles trespass from the premises. One of the 4 was also charged with vandalism. We have videotape of a young lady breaking into the ladies' room and breaking the door magnet. And so we're actively kind of pursuing that with the police. We also are working with the Cape Coral Police Department. You may see them sitting at the Veterans Gate. They are sitting there because that is the most common entrance point for the kids. So by them sitting there, they're watching to see if they follow a car in, and then they kind of stop them and see who belongs and who doesn't belong. Let me see. So we got here. Lakes. I don't take too much away from lakes, but we finally have the fountain operational, and we had an aerator compressor catch on fire, and that was replaced as well. So I'll say Jane can talk about lakes. I always take everybody's status report. You shouldn't let me go first. You should let me go last. You may notice that the storm drain covers along the roadways got a fresh coat of green paint. The Sunvale lakes, we're going to talk about a quote to actually clean up the Sunvale Lake.
Yeah.
And the bocce courts had their annual clay maintenance completed, and our pool passed the Board of Health inspection. And I'm surprised that we haven't seen more people in the pool the last couple of days. So, yeah. Any questions?
Well, as far as the cleanup at Sunvale, if I recall, the quote was $1,500. I would like to make a motion that we go ahead with that and clean it up. The county basically told us we are required to do it, so I'm not going to fight the county.
Do I have a second to his motion?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on Dave's motion? The quote was in the package. All in favor of approving this quote for cleanup of lake number 5, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Okay. Thank you. Chuck, do you have anything else to go over?
No, that's it.
All right. Any other questions for Chuck before we move on? Okay. Thank you, Chuck. Okay. Next item on the agenda is violations. Unless a board member prefers I don't, I'm going to lump all these violation proposals into one resolution. I'll read them once and then we'll discuss them and then vote on them if that's okay with everybody. So I propose that we make the following penalty assessments. Account number 979-52668 BHC, $100 fine for trash cans. Account number 979-52668 BHC for landscape violation, $100. account number 979-52677 LBC, dirty roof violation, $100. Account number 979-52461 STHC, disrepair of property, $100. Account number 979-52484 STHC, driveway not in conformance, $100. Account number 979-52604 WDC, unapproved ARC, $100 fine. Account number 979-526-659 WDC, landscape violation, $100. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on these violations? All those in favor of the violations I just cited, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. None opposed. Okay, so these will then be noted, and obviously they have the opportunity to present themselves to the Covenants Committee if they choose to do so. Okay. Next item on the agenda is old business. We have no old business to go over today. The first item under new business is we have several new applicants for committee memberships. I'm going to suggest that we go through all these as one resolution. In the interest of time, I'll read them out. I'm making a motion to approve the applications to join the Safety and Security Committee with Patrick Jaganowski and David Kohler. I'd like to include the applications to join the Rules Committee for Patrick Wood and Steve Zygum, and the applications to join the Social Committee to Connie Canestra and Jose Cavaretta. I hope I haven't pronounced.
Well, Megan.
We approved her last month,
Oh,
so that was my typo.
oh,
She was done last month.
okay.
We added her to the agenda and added her last month, John. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on these committee applications? Okay. All those in favor of these new committee members, please say aye. Raise your hand. Aye.
We need more.
None. Yes. Anybody that's willing to join a committee is welcome. We could use all the support we can get. Okay. The next item on the agenda, when we get through this. If we did this electronically, we'd be in trouble though. Okay. All right. I think I got to it finally here. Okay, the next item is I am proposing a motion to request that our council work with our Wi-Fi consultant to amend the current contract that we have with them. Our current contract requires $1 million in errors and emissions insurance policy. He has requested that in lieu of that, would we agree to him maintaining a $2 million personal liability insurance policy for the remainder of his contract, which will be through the end of this year? Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, questions?
Yeah.
Yes, John.
What's your assessment of that?
My assessment is that there is very low risk because we've approved the contract, and the contract was ratified by the Committee of the Whole this past year. So I doubt that there's a very low probability that he would be involved in any kind of legal action regarding his actions with the Blue Stream contract. And unless we invite him here for a meeting, he probably will not be on premise again for the remainder of the year. Do I have any other questions on that?
What does he do again?
He is the consultant, the principal for Wi-Fi Consultants. They are the consultancy that we engaged in 25 in 24 to work with us to put together the process for the new internet contracts.
And the insurance is for what?
And the insurance is for the errors and omissions policy that was originally required in his contract with us.
Oh, that was for how much?
That was for $1 million.
Now
And
he wants to
he's
change it to what?
what he's asking us is in lieu of continuing with that policy for this year, he would increase his personal liability insurance from 1 million to 2 million for this year.
Well, what's the difference in coverage in reference to our liability or anything like that?
So the difference is that if the D&O policy would cover if he was found to have did something nefarious with respect to the process to select Bluestream in 24.
And how long do we have him under contract for?
Through the remainder of this year. Once we finish off our implementation, we have one final payment to him plus a bonus payment that's in the contract, and our contractual relationship will end probably by I think our payment has to be made in August.
And we're paying him monthly until the
No,
contract
we
is over?
we,
No,
we
we don't
broke
pay
his
anything.
payments into 4 or 5 phases. I'm working from memory from the contract, and they were based on certain stages of the process for the proposal. The largest portion of our payment to him was when the board approved the Bluestream fiber contract at the end of 2024.
How much did they get paid?
He was paid, okay, memory test. It was I believe his total contract value was $75,000. And there was a bonus payment if we were able to achieve a per monthly charge below a certain number. I have to go back and go look in the details of the contract answer.
We didn't pay
It's
it.
right here. Thank you. His incentive
Paid-
compensation was that he would be paid
Paid.
15,000 if the initial bulk billing rate contractually achieved with the successor provider not to exceed $33 per residential unit per month. So
So once the contract is done and Bluestream's up and running, we're not paying them anymore?
correct. I have to go back and look at the payment schedule in the contract, but there's like a 3 or 4 month delay. Where's that? Okay.
10,000 left.
Yeah, well, there's 10,000 left of the base contract, plus there's the 15,000 of the incentive payment.
But it's my understanding that all the payments to him really come out of the door fees that we receive from Bluestream.
That is correct.
So
and
we're no cost to us.
that is correct.
Right.
What are the door fees?
So
He negotiated, one reason we wanted a consultant was because there'd been a lot of these things done by HOAs where they were getting money back from the vendor if you get a good enough deal. And we got something like $240,000.
not even then. So I believe it was in the range of like 130. What we did, Stan, during the negotiations was that we leveraged reducing the door fee to get a better price per door
Oh, yeah.
for the bulk rate. And then what we tried to match was the total door fee payment from Bluestream to total expenses incurred during the project, which would have been the consultant fees and the legal fees that we've incurred during that whole process.
So they get paid $75,000 for picking an internet company, and then they're gonna get a bonus from us, or from Bluestream again?
Well, it's technically from us, but we're taking the money that we got from Bluestream and paying him. Yes.
How much money did we get from Bluestream?
I have to go back and look at the Bluestream contract, but I believe it is about $135,000.
Where's that money at?
We received 2 checks, I think we got at least 1 or 2 checks over the course of the year, Dave.
We've got one,
One.
and I believe we get the rest when it's complete.
Yes, that's part of the Bluestream contract.
And what is the reasoning for the insurance change?
The reason for the insurance change is that we are through the process of negotiations with the vendor, and we're in the stages of implementation. So his belief is that his liability relative to what would be incurred in a D&O policy, which he doesn't carry for any other client, has passed. And as a trade-off, he was offering to extend or increase his personal liability policy another $1 million in case something did occur over the last several months of this project.
So it just benefits him, doesn't do anything for us.
From my perspective, it has no effect to us because quite frankly, if anybody's going to contest the Blue String contract issue legally, they'll come after the board.
So have we talked to our lawyers to make sure that this coverage is good and it's a smart move?
Our lawyer is okay with this, but obviously he can't negotiate this until we give him the okay to do so.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions on this? All right. All those in favor of authorizing our counsel to negotiate this change in the agreement with Wi-Fi advisors, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Okay. You got those?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next item is auto insurance waiver for the yoga instructor Melinda McQuaid. Chuck, could you give us a little detail on this, please?
Yeah, this is similar to what we've seen all year, or all last year. This is where our insurance requirements require them to carry $1 million worth of automobile insurance. And they are just instructors that, if you know our instructors, they just drive here in their car, they do their class and they drive away. It's typical of $1 million if we have Juniper to carry $1 million worth of insurance for auto, but it's kind of unreasonable to ask a yoga instructor to carry $1 million worth of automobile insurance just to come to Sandoval once a week. So in the past, we've done this probably about 3 times already.
I'm going to say there's been at least four
Yeah.
exemptions that we've approved already.
There are small, one-off instructors. So
Okay. All right. So I propose to approve her policy for $500,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to waive the same insurance waiver for our Zumba instructor, Aaron Lefrau. Okay, so
LaFay.
Pardon me?
LaFay.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. Eric, okay. All right. All right. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of waiving the insurance for our Zoom instructor, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda. Let me read the resolution. Okay. Whereas the association has its key governing documents in a declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, comprising of 5 documents and amendments, and an amended and restated bylaws of the association. It is in the best interest of the association to revise and consolidate the governing documents. Be it resolved that the association authorizes the Rules Committee to initiate the process in collaboration with Association Council to prepare a revision of the governing documents for review and consideration by the Association Board of Directors and Association members. The goal of this process is to complete a proposed revision of the governing documents that may, by subsequent vote of the Board of Directors, be presented to the Association members for ratification in accordance with the Association's governing rules. Do I have a second? Okay. I'll speak first, and then we'll have discussion. As I indicated in the briefing memo to the board, we have quite a hodgepodge of documents that comprise our governing documents. and my personal experience and the experience of any residents that it's a struggle to sort of weed through those documents that have gone through various iterations over the last 20, 25 years. In addition to that, there are some conditions in those documents that no longer apply, such as how the developer manages the community, which obviously we are no longer under control of the developer. And some of the wording and terms need to be updated to be in conformance with current rules. So the Rules Committee is recommending that we start a process to work with Association Council, who has had experience with doing this with a number of associations in Southwest Florida, to prepare a set of revisions of these documents and then present them to the community in town halls and in various forums for discussion and feedback. And then at some point during the process, the Rules Committee will recommend to the board that the revisions be submitted to the community for a 2/3 approval vote. So questions or comments on the resolution? John?
Comment. In discussion with management companies and attorneys and other HOAs, virtually every association that was where the bylaws were developed by a developer favors the developer and are oftentimes not obsolete but contrary to how you want to run the place. So I totally support this. I think we need to get it done as soon as we possibly can.
Uh,
Yes.
the one issue that I have is in reference to the red line. It, every contract that I've ever seen I've been involved with, it always on the red line, and in the back page it says the council recommends that we stay away from the red line, and I don't think that's smart to do. We need to know
What does it mean?
the red line means that they're gonna have our documents and the new documents, but it'll show the red line stricken over the old rules, and then you can see the new rules so that you can see where the changes were made to keep transparency on both documents so we can pass through. And right now, we're being recommended not to redline it, to just pass the new rules without knowing what the old rules were.
So, so the basis of that recommendation is this, Dan. Our governing documents is actually spread across 5 different documents. So what we're going to be doing is consolidating an original document and the subsequent amendments into one clean one clean document. And when he reviewed our current documents, he said, of course, you could do a red line, but it would be very difficult for anyone to go through the red line and understand where all the changes are being put in to the master new document, proposed new document. So what he's proposing is that, at least for the governing rules, because I think the bylaws, since it's a standalone document, would be easier to redline, is that he's going to prepare a very detailed summary of all the changes that will have to be reviewed, and through the town halls, we'll walk through all the changes in the key documents. So that's his recommendation from doing this from many different communities in the past. It's not an issue around transparency, it's that we've got this hodgepodge to try to deal with today that we're trying to clean up and get into a single document.
Oh no, that's understood. I still think that it's not the right way to go. I think we need the red line in order to show all the residents the changes that are going to be made and the changes that have been made. This is what I was trying to explain before when the ARC did theirs, and it wasn't red line whatsoever. We just passed a whole new ARC uh rules and regulations, not knowing what the old rules and regulations were being fixed too. I mean, this is a huge process, and it honestly it sounds like the lawyer this guy is just taking the easy way out. That's my opinion, and I've seen it before, and I like the red line. The red line shows exactly what's being taken off. If it's even a little word, it shows the red line and it shows the new wording on the new contract, which we can both see, and then you can see it for years to come, not just, you know, because some of the rules and regulations that were changed while I was off the board for about a year and a half, I have no clue what they are because nothing is red line or pretty much documented. So this would be a good way to show transparency to everybody in reference to the contracts, especially the rules and regulations and the bylaws. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Do we have any other comment?
The only comment I have is I understand why Stan would want to see the red line, but I honestly think that if we did the red line, it would be more confusing to residents. I'm all for saving the old documents for reference, but I would just as soon see a clean document, moving forward.
Well, I mean,
But-
if this resolution's passed, I mean, I certainly can bring this back to the Rules Committee and to our council and figure out, and see if we can figure out a way to accommodate, the desire to understand all the changes. That's certainly, understandable.
If I understand correctly, this resolution does not specify red line or no red line.
Correct.
So
It just
we're just saying, let's
authorizes
get going.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just authorizes the Rules Committee to start a paper
Right.
exercise.
But I agree with Stan, we should watch out for it, but that's
Yes.
really for next board, and you'll be there.
Yeah, well, I'm just
Yeah,
bringing up
Sure.
what's in our paperwork here.
sure.
In the briefing memo, that's, that's the feedback that we got from council, but I'm gonna take your feedback back to the Rules Committee and to Steve at Damchek, and we'll see how we can accommodate, the concerns.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on this?
Well, I was gonna agree that that was gonna be my only comment as well, to somehow, even if it's a big mess to try to redline, maybe there's some way that they can show us to see what the differences are.
Well, his recommendation, and I can share with you the video, call where we went through the best practices of this process. Is that he would prepare a very detailed list of all the changes. And that would be part of any package to be considered at a town hall, or what the final list of changes would be before the board voted to, start a community vote process.
The other thing is that I don't know how we're gonna do it, but practice is to go through every one of them and approve each change of the rules and regulations and bylaws per. This takes hours for the board to do. If you redline it, it's a lot easier for all of us to see exactly what we're voting on and what we're doing. If we're gonna do a blanket vote on such a big document, it's gonna be, you can't do it. We're not gonna be able to vote on the new rules and regulations at one sitting. We're gonna have to vote on each and every one of the rules and regulations that were changed. That's a proper way to do it.
So Stan, also, let me just clarify something. In the end, the board is not going to approve these changes. What the board can do is to approve that the proposed revisions are submitted to the community for vote. The community has to approve the changes by 2/3 community vote. The board has no authority to arbitrarily change these governing rules.
Okay, so that makes more sense for the red line then, to show what was stricken and not stricken.
It's going to be a challenge because there's going to be a lot of complex, I won't say complex, but there's going to be a lot of changes, in terms of trying to consolidate these 5 documents into one clean document for the, community to review and decide if they want to go forward with it.
I can bring a sample in. I mean, we do it every year. And every year our packet is very, very thick, and rules and regulations change all the time, and they're red stricken, and it's right to the point. The system works perfect. I just never seen where an outside company lawyer is going to give us exactly what happened. It's almost impossible for him to do word by word. Actually, it is impossible for it to be done word by word in reference to anything from electric scooters are not allowed, but motorized vehicles are. I mean, it's just trying to keep it simple. Actually, it's simpler to see a word being stricken and what it's going to be replaced by, instead of an explanation from a lawyer of what the action that was taken. That's where my point is coming in.
Makes sense.
All right. Any other questions, comments on this? All right. All right. All those in favor of approving this resolution, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passed. Next item on the agenda are committee reports. We'll start with the, Internet Committee. All right. We had our second town hall on January 22nd. It was well attended. It was targeted for snowbirds or those individuals that were not able to attend or participate in the first town hall. Interesting, as of this Monday, we have 521 installations in the community completed, and 507 are scheduled over the next month or so. That's for a total of 1,028. We still have 397 installations that need to be scheduled, and we'll be working to try to communicate directly to those owners or residents that they need to get themselves scheduled. So Chuck doesn't start getting calls on April 27th saying, I don't have any internet. What's going on? So we're going to be working on that. For the most part, installations have been proceeding without issue. Based on the count and feedback that the committee gets, because they have been involved with the resolution of all these issues, 52 or 10% of the 521 installs have required some sort of follow-up support after their initial installation. The most common issues that we're encountering are video buffering, which usually requires a software update of the Wi-Fi pods. We've seen some Wi-Pod equipment failures, some reconfiguration of the basic network to connect to older smart network devices, and occasionally the installers have neglected to install the Plume Home app for the residents, so they have to go back and do that for the residents to make sure that's working. Val and Frank are keeping a very detailed list of all the issues that come up, and we're following up on. They are following up on a daily basis to make sure that these installation issues are being resolved. We have Association Council has initiated a correspondence with the Blue Stream Fiber Council to clarify the terms of the service charges for follow-up support. I was not satisfied with how it was represented to the community, so we're working to get some clarification from their corporate counsel to make sure that there's no misunderstanding when they're going to attempt to try to charge $99 for a follow-up service call based on our contract terms. Our Wi-Fi consultant has been corresponding with CenturyLink to finalize equipment return procedures. The key issue that we are focusing on is to ensure that no Sandoval resident is charged for the returned equipment. Due to the latest response that we got from CenturyLink today, I'm engaging Association Council to deal with this matter because they are not willing to put in writing that they will not be charging our residents for missed equipment. So we need to follow up on that because I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see anybody get a bill from CenturyLink in 6 months saying they didn't return their equipment. And finally, with the installations underway, in February, we're going to start shifting our focus to getting into a cadence with the oversight on the service level agreements that we have in our contract. Do we have any questions on that?
One question.
Yes, Dave.
If someone did not get the app loaded on their phone, should they contact Blue Stream directly or should they go through Val and Frank?
Contact Val. She's
Right.
Val and Frank have been pretty good at staying on top of it, and sometimes they can be. We can turn things around pretty quickly depending on the time of day. Question over here.
Has there been any downtime for the system, for the internet?
There, to my knowledge, no. I think there was a slight downtime when they switched from generator to LCEC power, but that was back in late December, early January. Right. Since then, there's not been any system-wide outages.
Okay, because I've gotten some pop-ups from Plume that, well, your internet's just been restored. You didn't know it was down, but that doesn't mean it couldn't have been when I was not on the system. But I was just curious.
I'm not familiar with that. I'll look into that. That may be that your system went offline while we did a software update. Because sometimes we're pushing these software updates during the middle of the night. But take a screenshot of that and then
Well, it was the Plume sent me a
notification.
notification.
Well,
Yeah.
if you can note the time or whatever, get an email to Val and myself and we can follow up on that.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I just got mine done the other day, and I drilled the guy pretty good, really good installer, really nice guy. I have a very small house, 3 bedroom, 1,600 square feet. and they install it in the laundry room mostly for everybody, and some people the garage, which I don't understand. But while it's in the laundry room, if you do your speed test in the laundry room, it's 1,000, and from the laundry room it goes out to the rest of your house. So that is killing the internet power on there. So I got another pod for the kitchen area. The kitchen area is receiving a good amount of internet, which is great. The kids' rooms were not. I asked the guy, hey, don't we get 3 pods? He goes, oh yeah, just call and make it blah blah blah. And he made it a little hard for me. So I called and they said, yeah, they'll be there, next week. I'm like, he just left. So he came right back, which is a good story. I'm not negative. He came right back. He did the other pod in the kids' room, and everything is going actually pretty good. The only issue that I'm having is that they're opting on putting it in the laundry room, therefore killing the internet by 300 points or so. So if you have an option, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill through the wall into the living area, and I'm going to put the first original pod that is next to the box on the outside of the laundry room, and you should be able to get a lot better internet that way. So that is, if you're having issues with low internet, it's because pretty much it's in your laundry room or garage. If you take it out of there and put it in the living area, you should be able to get better internet, and you get 3 pods automatically. All you got to do is call, and if you don't need it, you need it. And why not have it? You might need it later on. I have 3 in the house, and they're humming pretty good. In reference to the older equipment, is just his answer was that if you have a lot of older equipment and you want it hooked up, they're going to give you less service, less internet. I'm just putting it plainly instead of GPS or whatever. So if our residents decide on, hey, I want my Roomba to work and it needs a 2.5 gigahertz or whatever, they're actually dumbing down the internet in order to accommodate those old pieces. And that's something that hasn't been out there. So if they're having issues, then that's what that goes. And he's pretty good about setting them all up.
Stan, let me just warn you about a couple things.
Mhm.
Under the contract, if you move the location of the ONT on your own, you voided the warranty in your house.
Well, it's not the ONT, it's the pod.
Well, but
Yeah.
but the ONT has a connection to the
The,
Wi-Fi.
the ONT has a direct connection from the outside, which is protected by their own personal pipe that cannot be moved. The actual box cannot be moved.
Okay, so I want to
The
suggest
pod itself can be moved.
what I'm suggesting is that in order to make sure that your house gets the coverage it should have,
Mhm.
you need to schedule an appointment with them for them to do the move.
Yeah, he said he's definitely not going to do that.
That's not you. Then you send a note to Val and I, and we'll take care of it.
Perfect.
Okay?
Yep.
Because what I don't want to have happen to you
Mhm.
is they come and say, well, this is not where we placed it, therefore we're going to charge you $99 for fixing it.
Okay,
Okay?
understood.
So that's the thing number one. The two, each house has got a different configuration. I've got a 2,600 square foot house
Mhm.
with my first pod in the laundry room and my other one in the back, and I've got no issues. However, I don't have any kids on the Xbox all day.
Yeah.
So, but the contract is at a minimum 2 Wi-Fi pods per house. And we should not let the installer leave the house until you're satisfied that you have all the coverage that you should be getting across all the rooms in your house.
That's definitely a fact.
Okay, all right. Do we have any other questions on the internet from the board?
If I can just add, a lot of owners are actually coming to the office with their CenturyLink equipment in hand, saying, okay, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
As Bill mentioned, we're still working with CenturyLink to figure out how that retrieval process is going to take place. Once we figure that out, we will make it as convenient as possible for everybody to come and just drop off their equipment if that's what CenturyLink wants. But I'm just asking people, whether it's 521 people show up with their CenturyLink modem in hand and drop it off at the office. We just don't have the place for that until we can kind of get CenturyLink to figure out how we do that process. So I just wanted to let everybody know, please keep your CenturyLink modem until we're ready to accept it.
Yeah, because each one is registered by its serial number.
Yes.
So if you just hand one in and they don't know what serial number belongs to who, you could get billed for it.
Exactly, and we've
So
gotten,
that's what we want to
and they
prevent.
have given different direction to different residents. So that's why we're insisting on getting this in writing from them, and that's why we're having to take it to legal counsel to get this resolved. Because I
Sure.
don't want anybody to be charged. So, okay, all right. Communications committee.
Communications Committee had to push our January meeting to February due to vacations and schedules, so
Okay.
no report this month.
All right, got it. Art committee.
Normal meetings, normal, uh, we get from 8 to 12, 13 applications every 2 weeks. Most all are going through, no problems. We always have somebody that wants to do something that they can't due to the rules. So, we communicate and usually get it straightened out. So everything's going well. We could use another member or two. They need to be full-time residents if anybody wants to volunteer to be on the ARC committee.
So I just like to add that I attended an art committee meeting a couple weeks ago. It's a lot of work. I mean, you have the group that does the work is dedicated. They're focused on maintaining the integrity of the community to preserve our values. So I think their work needs to be commended. And I really would encourage anybody that's interested in being part of the process to talk to Rob about considering joining the committee. And you might even actually show up with coffee and donuts if you come to some of the Saturday meetings. Not that I'm putting you on the spot.
Nah, no coffee and donuts. You got to bring your own.
Okay. Right. Any other questions or comments for Rob? All right. Our rules committee. I think we've done enough on there. Social committee, Stan.
No, sir. Chuck went. He's got it covered. He was here, so we're good. Calendar, just the calendar. There shouldn't be any of us in that committee. Jessica runs it so well, and the committee's so good. It's it runs on cruise control. I actually wanted to see if I could do a different committee so that I could be of service somewhere else because they're good.
Well, when the new board sits in March, I'm sure the assignments will get rearranged.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're good in a great way. I mean, they're humming with stuff.
Okay.
Jessica did ask me to kind of mention that she wants to welcome there's a new Peacemakers Quilt Club that just joined this month.
Okay.
And there's no school on the 16th, and there's an open crafts for kids that day. And she's doing her first bus trip, which is to Corkscrew Sanctuary, and that's at the end of the month. So that's already sold out. So these are a couple of new things that the social committee has put together. And Kim here? Kim? Did I miss anything? We got everything? Okay.
So you're talking about February 16th?
February, yeah.
Yes,
So we're
okay.
already past you can. You can. That's it for me.
All right. Any other thing on social committee? Amenities, Jim?
Jim?
Slash Jim.
Amenities / Jim.
Oh, / Jim.
Jim
Okay.
Rob, Jim Rob.
Jim Rob.
Jim.
And with we just kind of reorganized the whole committee with new members and Kim taking over the chairmanship, and it's going real well. We've got things going on, just keeping up with current amenities and trying to get the pool features fixed and other stuff that's just, I mean, it's just rolling on. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay.
So,
Any questions for Rob on amenity and Jim?
as far as I know, the stand is, they done anything with the gym with the updated equipment?
The money's there. I've been working, unfortunately, and I just have to get with Chuck and Brian to order the two pieces that were
Okay.
okayed, and then we have to move we have to redo the entire gym once we do that because it's really I mean like move the machines around.
Stuff, right.
Yeah, just no, we're not gonna no, the machines are good. But the two new pieces, they're one's really big and it'll add a lot of life to it. I just got to get with them to just order and get it in here and get FFL, I believe that's the company's
Yeah.
name, to just move the stuff around where we want it to. So I'll get with you this week. I have to, and
Okay.
then get it done because, even if we have to do it through email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still averaging in between 80 and 90 people a day
Yeah.
in the gym. So the extra equipment, just even changing out some things that are not being used is
Yeah.
definitely a good move.
And then the big one that we're actually buying a twin of the one that we have there, because the one that we have there, the cable machine, it gets a lot of use. And it's good to have another one so that people don't wait and they get their workout out and get out, because then the other people can come in and work out. Also, they break, I mean, from use. It's their weight. So, we don't want, one obviously snapped on me, and if you have two, then less wear and tear. It's all good. So we got approved. I just got to get a move on. So I'll do it this week. Wait, today's Thursday. Next week. Thank you. You got time.
All right, dog park, anything else on, then we'll go to dog park subcommittee?
Dog parks, we have some progress thanks to Chuck and Brian. I'm meeting with Brian on Monday next week to place the bench pads. And so that's fantastic. Very glad that we're going to get that done. One thing I wanted to bring up with Chuck, and I know that the fence company came out and looked based on our last report, but I went and rewalked it and I haven't seen any progress. I don't know if they've scheduled time yet, or I know that was kind of critical because we had some complaints about safety issues.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different proposals, and Brian and I met this week to kind of figure out which ones, break it down into 2, one for each dog park. So, and then there was a couple of add-ons that kind of happened that kind of skewed everything. So what we'll be able to sit down with you is a complete package, which is the placement of the pads for the benches and the work that needs to be done in each of the dog parks, both Happy Paws and Barkley, small and large. And then this way, we're all talking the same thing. What was happening is we'd meet, we'd talk, then something else would break. Then we'd have to call the fence company back in again to give us a new quote. And I said, enough with, rolling quotes. Let's finally get something that we were happy with and move forward with it. We've got broken latches, we've got a broken service fence. We came up with the concept to, there's a mud puddle area in the one area, we want to concrete that.
Yeah.
So when they walk in, they're on concrete, not in a mud puddle. So we keep changing the recipe, and we just need to kind of sit down, figure it out, and pull the trigger on it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Why is this here?
Oh, it's next. Safety and security report, please.
Okay, so, I know Bill and Chuck have covered a little bit about safety security, but they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we had just a really bad week of different various incidents, and there was actually a incident posted on YouTube that was part of the impetus for our increasing the police patrol. So I just wanted to show that video so that you understand why we're taking this so seriously.
That's something I can work on here.
Any sound? He's working on it. No. Thank you.
Let me start this over.
See, now the kids, I don't see anything.
I saw the person over there
Yeah,
walking the dog.
Lady walking her dog,
Okay,
and they were harassing her.
okay.
I have no idea why I'm not getting any sound.
So check your mic and your speaker configuration.
In reference to this, the only thing that you want to hear anyway is from that idiot behind the lady beeping the horn at her, just constantly being a jerk off. And then pretty much that's the only sound that we need. Then you'll see the husbands or whatever come out and shoo him away. But the sound is of, like I said, that moron doing that to her.
Well,
I wish she would have turned around and slept it.
and
crap out.
language.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, oh, I guess it might
Thank
not
you.
work, but it is available on YouTube. So just so you know that, I mean, that was part of why we did feel it necessary to go back to the
Go to 26 or 16 incident of kids. I need you to.
Sure.
it should, yes. That should be able to.
Please, no dialogue with the audience, please.
Yeah, I can get with you later, but so anyways, at our safety security meeting, we did have a number of residents that were very concerned, part of it related to this incident, and so we had a lengthy discussion in regards to, various actions that we wanted to take with security for our community. And then just one other thing that I would just encourage, because part of what was discussed is that a number of kids that are around the community aren't wearing their IDs, and they say they don't have the IDs. So if you are a parent with children, I would just encourage you to get IDs for them from the um, so, and then we did discuss our speed signs. So we do have the two of them on Sandoval Parkway, Sandoval Boulevard. They are still being effective in just making people aware that of the speed limits. We are not going to be adding additional signs at this time, even though there are a couple more in the budget. So if we decide later in the year, that is a potential option. And then we are also cognizant of the various issues that we're having with this era. So we are looking to address that and looking at some of the availability in the market. So that's where we're at.
Any questions for Lisa on safety and security? Yes, David.
Yeah, I do have a question. I'm definitely concerned about the safety and this incident. It's horrible. I do want to be mindful of costs going forward, so I would just ask that the committee does some kind of a benefit return analysis, like how much are we reducing the incidents by the increase in cost of the police versus what are we really getting, right? So if we have more police present and we only have 2 incidents instead of 6, I'd like to be able to, have some communication or discussion around that to see if there is a cost benefit for it.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, if I can piggyback on that, are we doing 7 days a week starting last week?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're budgeted and everything's going good, but because for my calculations, we're spending $6,384 per month for the police detail. That's a lot of money for him to sit at Trafalgar with his lights on every single night with nobody coming in. This incident was 2 weeks ago. And our security guard, someone's got to give. Either we fire the security company or we get rid of the police. This is extremely expensive. It's just a comment, but there's really no answer to it. But at 6,003 per month, it's a lot of money.
We are aware of that, and based on how the youth were treating our security guard as well, that was why we ramped up to the police. But we are monitoring what they are doing. They are completing their activity log every night, so they have stopped quite a lot of youth from coming in on bikes at the Veterans Gate. But we're definitely going to just keep an eye on the expense of it.
And that was my second follow-up would be they are stopping people from coming in and they can't do anything to them except for warn them that they don't live here and you'll be trespassed next time you come in. They can't arrest, they can't do anything. What they can and what they did was in the contract was put that they're not going to be held liable for any lawsuits due to their civil action stopping that they're not supposed to be doing. So we're going to absorb any lawsuit from any kind of civilian that gets stopped by the police or anything else. I just want to bring that up. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. the police are completely cleared of any doing. If they do it, it's going to be our pockets, the residents' pocket is going to be hit. I think the next time that we do a contract, that needs to be fixed because what they're doing in here is technically not legal. They can't stop anybody. They can't stop anybody for just walking in. You can't do a Terry stop just because you see them coming in through the gate. It's just, it's just one of those things. And if we're not going to cover our butts, we got to really think about that contract next time.
You know,
Any other comments?
Then Vera, I've been around many different neighborhoods when I work in home inspections. The only game in town is in Vera. Everything else is outdated and bad and wrong. I mean, right now, from my understanding, and I could be corrected, we're not at the highest level of Envera. We're like at silver when they have gold status. I think we should definitely look into replacing the kiosks that are outdated, damaged, dirty, disgusting. And before we decide to look for other companies with what I got last time was $100,000 down payment from us. And I don't think that's the way to go. I think we should definitely play ball with them there, let them know what's going on, and we should upgrade everything that we have at a minimal cost or no cost, and then go from there. Other thing is that we're putting up cameras that are not in Vera, and I don't understand why. Because we're paying for that service for the monitoring system, and we're putting up cameras that are not in Vera, from my understanding.
I believe all the cameras are networked with Endera.
The cameras that are at Tennis and Pickle are not in Vera because they just can't run the cameras that far
Okay.
without putting a substation in, and which is really more expensive. So with the quality of these trail cams that we have, we're getting very good pictures, and they act as a deterrent against any kind of vandalism. As you know, we had, you know, kids in there kicking soccer balls and breaking, the fiberglass traps, ball traps. So that's mostly if we could put in a Vera camera out there and was cost effective, we would definitely do that. But the cost was ridiculous. Even for Bocce, when we talked about putting cameras up by Bocce, the uprun cost to get another sub controller in to be able to make that link is in the thousands. So we're kind of going with the less expensive version because we just want to be sensitive to cost. But the cameras themselves are, what we can see I can see it on my phone right now. I can see those cameras in Vera and the other cameras. So I think we do have the ability to retain this. So we keep it, I think there's a month that we could store it. So we're sensitive about if there's anything we need, we kind of pull it off. But the same is true with the Vera. They don't have an endless DVR that they can keep forever. So that's the main thing with Envira is to be able to pull up that information. So
Okay. So we do have cameras that are not connected to Envera. So they're just local.
there's local, yeah, the
Right.
trail cams.
Well, that was my question. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure because I know they're being utilized more so. Just want to make sure that we're utilizing Envera to what they're supposed to be doing. That's it.
Yeah, at the same time, with the potential for an RFP with talking of a possible change to a different vendor, we didn't want to go all in also to buy more Envira equipment, only to possibly go with another vendor.
I hope we don't. That'll be a giant mistake to get rid of Envera for what? I don't know. What is the problem with Envera right now?
There's customer service issues
Customer service. That's it?
and service issues in this response to them.
What are they?
As far as when we place a service call or not responding appropriately or when
What
we
is
ask for
appropriately?
quotes, like within 24 hours response to a gate strike or a gate failure.
Well, we haven't had a gate strike in a long time, right?
Oh, no,
You mean the arm, not the actual gate?
well, yeah, that's what we call a gate strike. Yeah, very seldom do you actually see
Right.
somebody hit the gate.
Yeah, we just gotta really have a hard time with Envera in order to make it such a giant move because it's gonna be extremely expensive for absolutely no reason. That's a,
But to answer your question, we have, part of what we're reviewing is also what upgrades are available within Barrow.
there's a lot. There's a lot. We're at silver when they have gold, and we complain when we shouldn't.
So it costs money, so that's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Lakes Committee.
This, oh, that's not on. It's on? Okay. The next Lakes Committee meeting is February 10th, 4:30 to 6 here in the Pelican Building. Residents are always welcome, and we're looking for volunteers to join the committee. We had a Lakes Trivia Night on the 16th to help inform residents about the function and condition of our lakes, as well as to answer questions. It was very well attended, and I think everybody had fun. There were prizes. Our current lake maintenance company, Premier Lakes, has been doing a good job keeping the algae levels down in all the lakes. I would like to, some residents have asked questions and commented about the littorals in the lakes, look like they're dying off. Again, this is winter. Typically, the littorals do die off at this time, and it's pretty cold right now, so they're dying off maybe a little bit more than usual. Hopefully, there'll be growth when the weather warms up. So we'll keep an eye on it, but we have not seen anything. Working with the vendor, they don't see anything that looks unusual. We're also been working with the shoreline repair company. They're now waiting for the water levels to go down before they can schedule the next lakes for shoreline repairs. That's it. Any questions from the board?
Questions on the Lakes Committee?
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. Covenants Committee.
Covenants Committee met and looked at 4 incidents of fines that the board had imposed. One was for garbage can, and that has been cured, so they did not upheld that one. There were 2 for dirty roofs and 1 for improper weeds in the yard. Those were all upheld. So 3 fines were upheld and 1 was denied. Okay.
Any questions for John? All right, thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Finance Committee.
Finance, we normally meet the Tuesday before the board meeting. We did not meet this week because of, we didn't have any numbers to review. I'm gonna try to schedule a meeting next week to review the year-end numbers with the committee. And I will then present the year-end numbers at the February board meeting. That's it for finance. Was anybody have any questions?
Yeah, has President been getting the numbers to us before the 20th? Usually they have, haven't they?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's year end. It's gonna take
Yeah.
them to close. And to be honest, I think it was beginning of last week or the end of the week before. I sent them a spreadsheet with a bunch of changes that I wanted them to make before the close because we had expenses going against the 26 expenses that belonged in 25.
I was just thinking though that compared to the last 2 vendors, President's really has fulfilled their obligation of getting us to on time. That's great.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah,
That's how else to answer that
Yeah.
one.
yeah.
We do have some issues with them and we're working through them and we're meeting with them on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
You also have to realize that we are expense-wise loaded in December. We did community mulch, we did community tree trimming, we had the Winter Fest, we had all these things that cost a lot of money that happened in December. That you have to wait till December it's done to get billed. So that's kind of slowing things down. So just want to let you know that that's kind of the flow that we have to wait for.
And the landscaping, we still meet with them on a monthly basis with the general manager. And sometimes we'll bring in some additional people just to review everything. There's some minor issues, but overall things are looking good.
You don't have no body gun.
Okay. Any questions on landscaping for Dave?
Outside the Trafalgar Gate, at the bus stop there, they just finished that, this afternoon.
Okay. All right, the last committee report is for risk management. What I'm going to do is to give a overview of the 26 insurance policies. First of all, we had hoped to have representatives from Brown and Brown here to present to the board. We're looking to have them here in February. Between maternity leaves and illness, they were unable to get things wrapped up. In addition to that, we've run into a couple issues relative to some of our policies that I'll discuss in a minute. So, we are working with them so that they can do a full review with the board next month. Just some background information. All our policies renew on February 22nd. So the next 3 weeks will be crucial for us to finalize the insurance. With Brown and Brown, we've done a complete review of all policies and going to as many business insurance carriers as possible so that we can look at what options are available to us to be cost effective and to have the best coverage. To put this in perspective, the combined spend on insurance is 8% of our common assessment expenses, so it is a significant part of our budget. We are currently working on renewals for 9 separate policies. Just to summarize, we have a property policy, a general liability policy, what we used to call an excess liability, they call an umbrella policy. We have a flood policy, a workman's compensation policy, a directors and officers policy. We added a crime excess liability policy last year because of the size of our cash holdings, so that the D&O or crime portion of the D&O only covers up to a certain amount. So we had to get an excess policy to cover to the full amount of our assets. We have a separate cyber crime policy, and with the pickup truck, we have a business auto policy. And the goal is to have them all sync up to the February 22nd renewal date. The challenge has been that the pool of insurance carriers offering competitive quotes is limited. Out of the 20 carriers that they went to get quotes, only 2 offered competitive quotes. Sandoval was eliminated from 17 property carriers due to their inability to match our current deductibles that we have with our current policy, or they cited the geographic location of Sandoval in Florida, or they decided the distance of Sandoval to water, and which was surprising to me is our building construction. Apparently there is some hesitation for business carriers to write policies on joint masonry construction buildings, which was a surprise to me. As we did our review earlier this week, the currently quoted rates for all but 2 of the policies are promising in terms of being at or below budget. And we're still working on flood and the workman's compensation, which we'll talk about next. Flood insurance. The flood required a separate agency of record process to be done. This is very time consuming, so we're still working to get the flood quotes in place. Workman's comp is becoming a slight issue. We are required to have workman's comp to cover what's called non-paid employees, because our workman's comp obligations with the management employees is paid through our contract with Precedent. However, for volunteers that get injured are considered non-paid employees, so we have to maintain by law workman's compensation insurance. We are unable at this point to get a renewal quote through the private market due to an outstanding claim. So Brown and Brown is investigating getting our workman's compensation insurance through what is called the Florida Workers' Compensation Joint Underwriting Association. That is this is a provision that the state of Florida has organized for businesses who cannot obtain coverage in the voluntary market due to high risk, poor loss history, a new business, or denials by at least 2 carriers. So we seem to fit that, fit in a couple of those buckets. That process is complex and it's going to take several weeks to complete. So we're going to be meeting again with Brown and Brown to review what options are available through that channel. So the insurance renewals are underway, but these outstanding items require follow-up in the next week so that we make our February 22nd renewal date. We will be making a detailed summary to the community and the board at the February board meeting. One of the things that have come out of this process is a recommendation from Brown and Brown that we do an updated property appraisal to re-baseline our replacement costs. And one of the challenges that we've had with our current property appraisal is that it's 2 years old and it did not cover common elements such as the pool and the gates, which are key elements, especially if those are some of the more expensive common items that would have to be replaced that currently we don't have an appraisal on. We're still working on solutions to protect Sandoval and increase our flexibility with lower tier vendors and our ability to get more food trucks on site. We're still challenged by our current policies to get more food trucks here. I think we all like to see that happen. So once we finalize these policies and we know what limits we can work under, there'll probably be some proposed revisions to the vendor liability policy for the board to consider at the February meeting. Questions? Okay. All right. All right. The next board meetings. We have the February board meeting on February 26th at 6 p.m. As mentioned earlier, the annual association meeting will be conducted on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. There will be an organizational board meeting on Monday, March 23rd at 6 p.m. And the March board meeting is March 26th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I got one question.
Shoot.
It's for Chuck, and I was confused or didn't understand the Sunvale cleanup. Is that street?
No, it's
Lake.
the lake itself.
Land bridge.
So there was a
That's the land bridge.
the land bridge, yeah. And if you remember, we cleaned up the land bridge.
Yep.
But we did it during rainy season. So now the water level dropped down and there's branches
More to
that
clean up.
were unsubmersed in the water and now they're exposed. So when the state came in, they said, you got to clean that up.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and just as another point, we can't use Juniper for that. You have to have a certain certification in order to do that kind of work around the lake.
Cause it's in a lake.
Yeah.
It's on the way.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Everybody have a good evening.
Where are the comments?